NCAA, the early competition has just ended in the NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championships. Hi, everyone. I'm Charlie Neal. 10 teams have qualified for this championship event. And the lower-seeded teams, the teams seeded 6th through 10th, have just finished. There have been some outstanding performances. One by Penny Hoschow. She's a sophomore from the University of Alabama. So here are the final scores for the early round. Alabama is in first place. And now should Lady Luck frown on one or two of the top-seeded teams when they compete a little later on, Alabama could conceivably jump onto the leaderboard even though you haven't seen them compete. Now let's send you across the street to the John Wooden Center where the top-seeded teams are warming up. Peter Corman is with them.
You are looking at the defending champions from the University of Utah. They have won 3 straight team titles, but each of those were held before a highly partisan crowd at Salt Lake City. This will be their first NCAA championship on the road. With me is Megan McCunniff Marsden, the last year's defending all-around champion and 3-time All-American. And Megan, things have sure changed a lot since you started competing in college. At that time, there was literally no world-class performers in the competition. And this year, we have at least 7 elite girls here. How do you think you're going to fare against this strong field?
Well, I've really tried to put myself in a competitive situation. I've upgraded all my routines on each event. So I feel like I put myself in that position. But gymnastics has a lot to do with luck. And so I really think it'll just come down to who has a little bit of luck along with that talent tonight.
Well, congratulations on what you've done this year in your career, and we know you're going to have a good competition.
Thanks.
We'll be back with the NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championships. But first, let's send you back to swimming and diving after this message. This rotation of the 1984 Women's Gymnastics Championships is getting underway. I'm Charlie Neal. Utah, the defending champs, has a bye this round. They will sit out. But Cal State Fullerton, who many feel have the best chance of dethroning the defending champ Lady Utes, will start out on the balance beam. Now, the balance beam, as you know, in women's gymnastics is probably the most demanding, the most difficult, and the lowest scoring event in women's gymnastics. Peter Corman, our bronze medalist from the Olympics of 1976, is with that Cal State Fullerton coach right now, Lynn Rogers. Peter?
Thank you, Charlie. And Lynn, last year it was the balance beam that was one of the events that kept you from winning the championship. How important is your routines on balance beam going to be this year?
Real important. Since our first event, it's what's going to set the momentum for our meet, and I think it's important that we don't have to have a perfect beam, but I think if we do real well on beam, we can win the meet. We're going to have to hit great, I think, to guarantee a win at that point in time, but I think we need to do at least reasonably well to have a chance at it.
Okay, well, best of luck.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, Peter. We'll be back in a few minutes with CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the 1984 NCAA Gymnastics Championships. But first, we're going to send you back to the 1984 Olympic Gymnastics Competition here on the campus of the University of California at Los Angeles. But today, it is the site of the NCAA Gymnastics Championships. Hello again, everyone. I'm Charlie Neal, along with Kathy Johnson, a senior member of our United States Gymnastics team and a member of the 1980 Olympic team. And Kathy, last year at the same time, we were in Salt Lake City for the same Women's Gymnastics Championship. And Utah won an unprecedented 3rd straight collegiate title, while Megan McCunniff Marsden won the individual title. Both Utah and Megan are here. They're both looking to repeat.
Well, this is going to be the toughest competition ever. Not only do we have Megan, who is trying out for the Olympic team this year, but we also have Trina Tinty, who is a national team member and just finished very strong in the national qualifying meet. Sherry Mann, who was a world championship team member in 1981, and Becky Rashoff, who was also a national team member. All these girls will be trying for the Olympic team this year.
Well, it should be an exciting meet. Peter Corman is working with us. He was a 1976 bronze medalist in gymnastics, and he's now the coach at the Naval Academy. He's working down on the floor with us. Let's go to him right now. Peter?
And it certainly would be a mistake to rule out Megan Marsden, because she looks great. Her competition is the strongest it's ever been, but she is the strongest she has ever been. And as a matter of fact, in one of those Olympic qualification rounds, Megan did very well in the optional routines, placed 3rd. Of course, her compulsory exercises were a little weak, but remember, in the NCAA championships, there are no compulsory routines.
In these NCAA championships, as in international gymnastics, there are 4 events: the vault, the uneven bars, the balance beam, and the floor exercise. Now, the top 5 teams are competing, so in each rotation, one team will sit out with a bye. In the first rotation, the defending champions, Utah, drew the bye. In the second rotation, Arizona State set out. So the standings after 2 rotations finds UCLA comfortably in front with 2 disciplines behind them. In her first exercise, Megan McCunniff Marsden hit a 9.65 on this vault, tying UCLA's Rhonda Schwant for the highest score so far. If you remember, Megan is the defending all-around champ. She's looking to repeat. So after 2 rotations, Donna Kemp of UCLA is our current leader. As we get ready for the 3rd rotation, we'll see Cal State Fullerton get a bye. This is Linda Cardos. She's from the University of Utah. She's getting ready for the bar. She's the co-captain, a senior communications major from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. She's had some nagging injuries this year, but she's managed to take second in the all-arounds in the regionals last month.
As you did say, the last few years, she has really had trouble with injuries. Now she's looking better than ever.
Linda Cardos, 3-time member U.S. national team before joining this Utah squad.
That was a beautiful major release move in her routine. She's getting ready for a dismount, which is a new one. And it's a double flyway. 1 step back, that should only cost a tenth or 2.
Linda Cardos, University of Utah, her high score in 1984 on the bars, a 9.65 against Cal State Fullerton back in February. Let's see what she gets on her score today. A 9.55 for Linda Cardos. Now this is Donna Kemp, UCLA on the beam. She's the co-captain of the Bruin squad.
This is probably Donna's best event for her. And what's really exceptional about her beam work is that she keeps moving. She has very good tempo.
Donna, American College Gymnast of the Year, 1984.
She started off very well and looks confident.
Believe it or not, she transferred from the University of Utah. She went to Utah in her freshman year. Now she's trying to help the Bruins defeat the Lady Utes.
That last turn she did was a very important move in her routine. She takes chances when she doesn't have to. Well, that's a slight break, but only about 2 tenths.
A former member of the U.S. national team. You're looking at Donna Kemp from UCLA.
Here's her flexibility move, which is a must for gymnastics.
The most difficult of all performances in women's gymnastics, the beam. 4 inches wide, 4 feet high, 16 feet long.
Well, that leaves a lot of room for error. Not a lot of room to move on. And her dismount, full twist. All right.
Donna Kemp, UCLA.
She should really be happy with that. That's a nice, steady performance.
And in front of the hometown crowd, and they are really happy with her performance. Also, when she comes up with a 9.2, they have been scoring low on the beam so far in this meet.
I think that was a little bit too low. They were very strict with her.
This is Lisa Zeiss from Arizona State, the 5'2" sophomore from Cheektowaga, New York, as she prepares for her second vault. Her first vault score, a 9.15.
This is the vault that Lisa performed so well as a national team member. A handspring front, little trouble on the landing, but did you see the distance that she got away from the horse?
I want to remind our viewers there are 4 different events taking place at one time. You just saw Lisa Zeiss on the vault. There's also the floor, the beam, and the uneven parallel bars. A 9.15 on her first vault. She'll take the highest of the 2 vaults. Let's await the score for her second vault. Lisa Zeiss from Arizona State University. She's a sophomore. She thinks she's done well, but she comes up with only a 9.35 on her second vault.
Well, that vault is not worth a 10, so that is a fairly accurate score for that vault.
Megan Marsden, as she prepares for the bars, the co-captain for the University of Utah. Last year, she won the all-around, but that was not the biggest thing in Megan's life last year.
It was last year's version of Love Story. Utah gymnastics coach Greg Marsden marries his pupil, Megan McCunniff.
I seen your picture, your name and lots of others.
It was a delicate matter for both Greg and Megan, and a time of concern going into the '84 season.
I worried about that because I knew that I was going to spend a lot of hours in this gym, and I did not want to be an outcast and someone kind of looked down upon.
The report from all parties involved is that the Marsden's marriage has had no effect at all on the team.
Again, we've been fortunate because the thing worked out well. and everyone here is kind of excited about the situation.
With the outside world comfortable with their marriage, the Marsdens then had to concentrate on keeping their two lives separated.
There is a very, very fine line between coach and gymnast and husband and wife. And I think that we have learned to cross that line well. And the minute we walk out this door, we are not coach and gymnast. We're husband and wife. When we walk in, we're coach and gymnast. And I think that because we played those roles so well, it's made it very easy for us.
Away from the gym, there is no coaching on Greg's part. Megan eats what she likes and picks her own activities without worrying about the coach looking over her shoulder. The gym is a different matter, and Megan sometimes gets yelled at, just like everyone else.
Sometimes I would, if I had been yelled at in the gym or we had disagreed upon something in here, I would let that carry into the evening a little bit or something if we were together. And that came to an end very quickly because we just both knew that it wouldn't work that way.
It's working pretty good today. No yelling at Megan as she gets ready for the bars. A 1984 high score on the bars, a 9.75. It occurred back in February against the University of Minnesota.
I believe that was a miss on her yes, she added the extra glide kip. That'll cost her a couple tenths. One thing about Megan, though, is she moves very well through the bars and leaves no room for deduction. She has added that giant swing, which will help her routine out. And a release move here. She has no major release moves, which will not allow her to score those really high scores, 9-6 and above. But she should score fairly well with this. And one step on the dismount. That's another small deduction.
She scored a 9.5 on the bars at the Midwest Regional meet in March as we look at the end of her routine once again.
It was a good dismount despite the step on the end, but the problems came at the beginning of the routine. It'll be interesting to see how they judge it.
Megan awaiting the score. It comes up a 9.45. Kathy, is that a good score?
A fairly lenient score considering the level of difficulty, the break in the beginning and the step at the end.
And we'll be back with more after this message. Welcome back to women's gymnastics. After 3 rotations, UCLA is our current leader. They're about to start their 4th and final rotation, so the score that they get will be their last. As we look at Lisa Zeiss from Arizona State preparing for the bars.
Lisa is really geared up for this competition and looking great so far. Starts out very strong. She has one release move in her routine, though not considered a major release, and it's right here. An uprise with a full twist. She's also added a more difficult combination into her dismount, the handstand pirouette, into a double flyway. Good routine for her.
Lisa Zeiss from Arizona State. She's a sophomore from upstate New York. She awaits the score. A 9.5 on the uneven bars for Lisa Zeiss from Arizona State. And now we go to the beam and Megan Marsden.
A good event for Megan. One thing you immediately notice is that she works very high on her toes. Rarely do you see that on beam anymore. The girls just don't take the chance of going up on their toes.
Her high score in this event in 1984, a 9.80. She had a little break there.
Yeah, slight break there. That should be about 1 or 2 tenths. Yeah, and another one. She's really got to get it back right now.
You look at her husband, Greg, in the background. He's digging in his briefcase. He doesn't like to watch not only Megan, but any of the young ladies from this Utah team working on the beam.
Unfortunately, a lot of coaches and spectators are like that. A lot of times it's the event that makes or breaks the gymnast. That was a very risky move, and you will rarely see that.
I was about to ask what he had in that briefcase. Maybe he was getting a sandwich out, huh?
And another full turn. She does a lot of turns in her routine. Girls don't like to do those. They're chancy. And setting up for 3 back handsprings. Oh, that's another break. It's her 3rd, and that was a major one, but she did recover well.
And there are a lot of things going on around us. 3 other events happening at one time, and this event requires a lot of concentration. And with so many things happening, Kathy, how do you concentrate?
Well, it's amazing. In a competition as important as this, you can get up there and completely block out everything, and you might as well be in a silent hall. And a dismount, a cartwheel double twist, and a hop on the landing. That'll counter at least a 10.
Megan Marsden from the University of Utah. The judges have been scoring low on the balance beam so far.
Well, Megan definitely had deductions in this routine, but she does take chances. She works on her toes and performs well. She'll get credit for that.
And her score, a 9.45. Not bad.
No, not bad at all.
This is Donna Kemp from UCLA, the co-captain.
A double back, a slight stutter step, but that should only cost her a 10. Donna has just had an excellent meet. This is her last event. She's hit her double back. She has to be feeling good now.
She has competed in all 4 events, and after this one on the floor, she should become our leader.
And preparing for a middle pass. Consecutive handspring fronts. She only has 1 pass left. All she has to do now is dance her heart out and look at her go.
A former member of the U.S. national team, she won 3 gold medals in the Sanlam Cup in South Africa and 2 golds in the TBS Cup in Tokyo back in 1978.
She has definitely had a successful gymnastics career, both nationally, internationally, and her college career. Oh, a nice performance for her.
Donna Kemp from UCLA. Her last event as a collegian. It's got to be a memorable one. You always remember these.
That's right. That's where it's all out, is feeling good about your performance.
Tammy Elliott on the vault. Here's her first vault score. Her second vault now.
Oh, nice vault. That's a Cuervo, and I think it's the only one done in this competition.
She was sidelined much of the season with a sore knee.
Right, that should score very well. That's a 10-0 vault.
Here's Donna Kemp's score for her floor exercise, a 9.30. She is our current leader. Meanwhile, Tammy Elliott, a 9.60 for her second vault.
Very good score.
UCLA is currently in first place. They're the only team to have completed all 4 rotations. That means the pressure is on the defending champs, Utah, and Arizona State is in the thick of things. As far as the individual all-arounds, Donna Kemp can just sit and wait. Meanwhile, the UCLA team is having their best meet of the year, and I'm sure they've had plenty to cheer about as they put the pressure on everyone, and Coach Jerry Tomlinson has to be happy. Get ready for our 5th and final rotation. Donna Kemp of UCLA is our current leader, but these young ladies only need scores in the low 9s to take over the lead. But for Megan, all she needs is an 8.85. As far as the teams are concerned, UCLA is the current leader, but they have finished all 4 rotations. Florida, Cal State Fullerton, Arizona State, and Utah are all battling for that team championship. This is Tammy Elliott of Cal State Fullerton, preparing for the bar. She needs a 9.3 to take over.
Tammy has a very exciting beginning to her bar routine. She does a pike front over the low bar, and then watch, she jams right back to a handstand on the low bar. She swings very well, nice and clean. She's not giving away those little tent deductions.
You see her right knee bandaged heavily. She has had some knee problems in 1984.
Right. And her dismount, a free up to handstand, and a toe front dismount. Wow, look at that landing.
Tammy Elliott of Cal State Fullerton. Meanwhile, this is Linda Cardos from the University of Utah.
That was a very nice double back by Linda. Linda's had a beautiful competition here, and as I said earlier, she looks better than she ever has.
She's had some nagging injuries this past season also.
Right. She managed to compete well last year at the championships, even despite her injuries. This year, she looks like she's just sky high.
Prior to the regionals in 5 meets, she never scored below a 37.05 in the all-around.
That's a sign of a very good gymnast. She's a good team competitor, too. She keeps that in mind, and she really wants to do well for the team. Linda has a lot of control in her dance. She doesn't give away those little tents that a lot of gymnasts do on foot faults. Her last pass, a double twist, and all she needs is a good landing. Oh, beautiful. And an end to an excellent gymnastics career.
Linda Cardos from the University of Utah.
Oh, a nice performance.
Under a lot of pressure, too. A 3-time member of the U.S. national team. That's Linda Cardos. Tammy Elliott from Cal State Fullerton. Her score 9.65 on the bars, and she is the new leader. She needed a 9.3. And for Linda Cardos, a 9.35 on the floor. Not enough for her to take over from our new leader, Tammy Elliott. This is Elfie Schlegel from the University of Florida.
Right, and Elfie should be competing for Canada at the Olympic Games. It's her vault, a layout Tsukahara. Elfie's had a good competition here, very good.
Megan Marsden of Utah on the floor needs a 9.25 to take over the lead since Tammy Elliott is our current leader.
And Megan could very well do it. The floor is a strong event for her. She doesn't give away those little 10th and 2/10 foot faults. And her first tumbling pass is a double back. Oh, that was a terrible landing. And she's going to get deducted for being out of bounds. I'm not sure how the judges will treat that, though, because she had to run back onto the floor all the way to the middle of the floor path.
Elfie Schlegel got a 9.35 in her second vault. That was not enough for her to take over the lead.
Oh, there's a nice, strong middle tumbling pass. She cannot afford to give away any more deductions throughout this routine.
Her high on the floor this year, 9.80 against Arizona State in the meet back in January, and in the Midwest Regional meet, she came up with a 9.65.
Oh, that's an interesting move. Now she'll be preparing for her last tumbling pass, which is a round-off double twist. She needs good form and a good landing, and she's got it. Tell you what, I wouldn't want to be the judges right now.
We said she needed a 9.25 to take over the lead and repeat as the individual all-around champ. Megan Marsden from the University of Utah. I don't think she's too happy with her performance there. But the applause you hear is for Lisa Zeiss, the new leader, with a score of 9.45 on the beam. Meanwhile, Megan is worried about her performance.
Right, I think she's really concerned about the team situation here.
And the judges who are in the hot seat, they have to determine a score right now. As Megan and her teammates anxiously await. We just heard that it's a 9.35. Peter's out on the floor. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Charlie.
According to our calculations, Peter, she is the winner. For the second straight year, she has won the all-around. Peter, you tell her.
Megan, congratulations. You had a great meet. I don't know if you know this or not, but you won the all-around title.
No, I don't. They've done this to me twice now. I don't. They tell me right. Oh, I can't believe it. These are my bearings.
What does this one mean compared to all the others?
Means a lot, but us winning the team means a lot more to me right now. Nothing's final, but we think we've done it. We've done it. We've done it. We won a fourth, and that's all I care about. I don't care about myself.
Congratulations, Megan. You're a true champion.
Champion among champions, Peter, as Utah has won their fourth straight collegiate title. That's unprecedented. And Kathy, your thoughts?
Well, it was exciting, and it was close. It could have gone any way at any time, and that always makes for the best competition.
And we'll be back with the final standings right after this. This 1984 Women's Gymnastics Championship is history. Kathy Johnson, for the fourth straight year, the University of Utah has done it again and won the Women's Gymnastics Championship on the collegiate level. For the second straight year, Megan McCunniff Marsden has won the individual all-around championship. Coming into the meet, a lot of people felt if anybody was going to dethrone Utah, it was going to be Cal State Fullerton, but it just wasn't to be done. Utah came back and did it again. Your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you what, Utah came in strong from the very beginning. They started on vault, and they just built and built, and the team spirit was there. And Megan was better than ever. She was better this year than she was last year. And I really think that she put it all together in this competition.
When you talk about women's gymnastics on the collegiate level, a lot of people are very critical of their ability to perform as far as Olympic competition is concerned. If you had to look at anyone from this meet who may have a chance at that Olympic team this year, who would it be?
I think it'd have to be Megan. We've seen her very, very strong in her optional work. If she can pick up in the compulsory, she could very well qualify for the Olympic trials and be right up in there.
Okay, for Kathy Johnson and Peter Corman, I'm Charlie Neal saying so long from Poly Pavilion on the campus of UCLA, inviting you to stay tuned for the Masters coming up next, except on the West Coast.
The executive producer of NCAA Sports is Kevin O'Malley. This CBS Sports Special was produced by Sherman Egan. Swimming and diving directed by Andy Kendall.